A very warm welcome to you in the intermediate level of the course of learning Spanish. I heartily congratulate you that you have done with your basic level and now we are on the intermediate level. Before starting with the intermediate level and learning Spanish in this level, we first will look at what all topics we are going to cover in this level. As this intermediate level is going to be more advanced than the basic level, it will be covering more detailed topics referring to the grammar of Spanish, and it will focus on your skills to read, write, and speak in Spanish. So, this level is going to cover the topics like the reflexive verbs, conditional tense in present and in past, preterite tense, imperfect tense, subjunctive in present and imperfect tense, past perfect, preterite perfect, future perfect, conditional perfect, subjunctive in present and past perfect tense. As the earlier module will also consist of the pictures and dialogue demonstrations wherever needed, and various exercises and drills for making you understand the language better. When you complete this course, you'll be able to read, write, and speak in all the 16 tenses of Spanish. So, without wasting any more time, let us start with the intermediate level of Spanish. Before starting with the actual course, I would like to suggest you that you have a notebook and pen and pencil, and if you're carrying a dictionary, that's for your convenience, so that you can write the new meanings, all the new tenses, their rules, and their applications in your notebooks, and also you can practice on your own. So, let us start, and the first topic which we are going to choose is the reflexive verbs. Now, you may be familiar with this kind of topic in the basic level. We had covered a very small part of reflexive verbs in the basic level, so that you can start from there. But now, in this course, we are going to touch the reflexive verbs in detail. So, we'll start by learning this. As we know that all the verbs ending in se, that is say, are called reflexive verbs. For example, despertarse, that's to wake up. Sentarse is to sit down. Se is sometimes translated into English as oneself. For example, I've got the AR verb as lavar. Lavar means to wash. But if I have the ending se in the end of this verb, I get lavarse, and this would mean to wash oneself. Reflexive verbs are conjugated with the reflexive pronouns that are me, te, se, nos, os, and se. There's no hardcore rule for reflexive verbs, as in for their conjugations. They are conjugated normally like any other regular or irregular verb. And that is, the rule is the se, the ending se, has to be dropped and the reflexive pronoun is added before the verb. And for example, we have taken a verb called llamarse, which is very commonly used, which means to be called. So the conjugations of llamarse would be done by dropping the se from the ending and then conjugating llamar verb as we used to do for regular or irregular verbs. So the conjugations of llamar would be llamo, llamas, llama, llamamos, llamais, and llaman. But since this is a reflexive verb, we have to combine this with reflexive pronoun, and that is me, te, se, nos, os, and se. So these two will go together. So it is actually not only llamo, it will be me llamo. Llamo will not go alone, it has to be going with me, that is the reflexive pronoun. So now the conjugations will be me llamo, te llamas, se llama, nos llamamos, os llamáis, and se llaman. Note the difference that even if say, that is the third person singular and third person plural, even if the reflexive pronouns are the same, here we can note the difference. Here it is yamma and yaman. And for the emphasis purpose, we can write the subject pronouns also. We have taken some examples down here. Suppose there is a question called ¿Cómo te llamas? This means what is your name? But if we translate this in literal English, it would be what do you call yourself? But we don't say it like that in our normal day-to-day talks. Generally, we say what is your name? Similarly, we have the answer saying Me llamo Pedro. That is, my name is Pedro. That's the general statement. But literal translation is I am called Pedro. We'll take up one more example of a verb called lavarse. Lavarse means to wash oneself. The conjugations of lavar would be lavo, lavas, lava, lavamos, lavais, and lavan. But since this is the reflexive verb, we'll combine it with reflexive pronoun, and hence it would be me lavo, te lavas, se lava, nos lavamos, os lavais, and se lavan. Now, after seeing these examples, we'll now check out the list of reflexive verbs which we have. This may not be the complete list, but yes, this is the general list which we normally use in our day-to-day conversation. The verbs are levantarse, that means to get up. Lavarse means to wash oneself. Bañarse means to bath. Ducharse means to take a shower. Peinarse means to comb one's hair. Despertarse means to awaken or to wake up. Quedarse means to remain or to stay. Pintarse means to put on makeup. Acostarse means to go to bed. Mojarse means to get wet. Secarse means to dry up. Ponerse means to put up. Ensuciarse to get dirty. Mirarse means to look at, specifically talking to each other. Reírse to laugh. Vestirse to get dressed. Afeitarse to shave. Sentarse to sit down. Divertirse to have a good time. Casarse to get married. Enfadarse to get angry. And encontrarse, that means to meet, especially when talking to each other. Now, for the practice purpose, we are going to take one or two verbs and we are going to practice them using all the tenses we have learned up till now. So, for example, we take the first verb called quedarse, that means to remain or to stay. Quedarse is the reflexive verb. We are going to practice only reflexive verbs now. Quedarse means to remain or to stay, and we have conjugated it in all the tenses we have learned up till now. That is the present tense, present continuous tense, command tense, past participle tense, and future tense. And the conjugations of quedarse in each of them is written down. So we'll just practice them one more time. Quedarse is the verb. It is conjugated in present tense as me quedo, te quedas, se queda, nos quedamos, os quedáis, se quedan. The verb quedarse is conjugated in present continuous tense as me estoy quedando, te estás quedando, se está quedando, nos estamos quedando, os estáis quedando, se están quedando. Now, if you note the difference, this is the present tense and this is the present continuous tense. So, quedarse means to stay. So, when I say the first conjugation, the first person conjugation, me quedo, means I stay. Me estoy quedando means I am staying, the present continuous tense. Next tense is the command tense. Command tense is only used for pointing out to the person in front of you, whether it's two, whether it's a group of people, and pointing them as vosotros, that's you all. Usted means two, referred in polite manner, and ustedes means you all, referred in a polite manner. The conjugations of quedarse in command tense will be, for two, it's quédate. For negative two, it's no te quedes. This the first one, tu quédate, means you stay, and no te quedes means you don't stay. Quedaos means you all stay. No os quedéis means you all don't stay. Quédese means you stay, said in a polite manner. No se quede means don't stay, you don't stay. Quédense means you all stay, and no se queden means you all don't stay. The past participle tense of quedarse would be me ha quedado, te has quedado, se ha quedado, nos hemos quedado, os habéis quedado, se han quedado. This is past participle. That means if I take up the first person conjugation, me ha quedado, that means I have stayed. If you remember the rule, the past participle is combined with using the conjugation of the verb haber, ha, has, hemos, habéis, etc. Next is the future tense. Me quedare, te quedarás, se quedará, nos quedaremos, os quedaréis, and se quedarán. For example, the first person conjugation will be I will stay, the future tense, and so on.